Choose love. Choose love. If you choose love, you will live your freedom by and by. As I look out on the promised land, I imagine how it's gonna be. Plenty food for everyone to eat. A new wave of love for humanity. To treat the planet like a living thing. Oh, let the old ways begin to fall. In a world of peace, oh, let it rain on down. Let the skies bless us, one and all. Choose love. There's nothing to be afraid of. No, no. If you live in fear, love can make it disappear. Choose love. If somebody makes you cry, cry, cry. If you choose love, you will live your freedom by and by. There's a part of you in every part of me, and we're part of something else that never ends. If we learn the lessons of history, we won't have to make the same mistakes again. To treat the planet like a living thing, oh, let the old ways begin to fall. In a world of peace, oh, let it rain on down. Let the skies bless us, one and all. Choose love. There's nothing to be afraid of, no, no. If you live in fear, love can make it disappear. Choose love. If somebody makes you cry, cry, cry. If you choose love, you will live your freedom by and by. This is your part. Whoa, 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 way, oh. Whoa, way, oh. Choose love. We'll do that same thing again. Whoa, way, oh. Choose love. Choose love.
So I am the spiritual director of this community, and I get to plan services, events, processes, ceremonies that highlight different things that are happening that people might resonate with. So it's not unusual for me to do a particular Valentine's service. It's not unusual for me to do a Ash Wednesday service, the beginning of Lent. In fact, actually, I love Ash Wednesday because I was never Catholic, so I have no garbage. I have no bad stuff. So I can just make it anything I want. And it certainly wouldn't be to put ashes on myself. No, no, no. A little manure maybe, but not ashes. For those of you that don't know, I live on a ranchette, so I know what manure is. But here's what was so weird this year. This year, Valentine's Day, celebration of love, was on the same day as Ash Wednesday. Oh, so what do? Do you go out and be indulgent with your honey, or do you just give everything up for 40 days? Some of you in couples, imagine. So I was at a loss. I was stumped. So I just avoided the whole thing. We're not doing that. No. We can't avoid the lovers, and we can't avoid those people who really want to give up something. So I just forgot about it. But this morning I had a download. I have the perfect thing to happen on Wednesday, which is the marriage, the divine marriage of Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday. Who's in a committed couple? I mean, you know, committed couple sort of thing. So this is it. You take your honey out to a wonderful, marvelous meal. Very romantic. You indulge, whatever indulging is for you. I mean, some of you might actually have some gluten or something. I mean, you might just like, okay, honey, just this once, sugar. Something really wild and crazy. And you look each other in the eye, you hold each other's hands, and you say, so what would you like me to give up for 40 days to make our marriage strong or our union stronger? Because I bet there's some habit they're putting up with that would just be the icing on, I'm sure, a wonderful cake. Just a little thing. Actually, I'm going to do this on Wednesday, and I'm afraid, and he watches. Hi, honey. But I was thinking, it might be something like, okay, Kathianne, just because you come home and you've driven a long ways, stop taking the remote. I mean, it might be for 40 days, I give up the remote. I would do that for love. But to think about it, it's a good way to put the two together, because honestly, what I believe about Ash Wednesday, if you get down to the very essence of it, that which is supposed to be healing, because otherwise tradition's just tradition. It's just a bunch of crazy stuff. Just craziness, and in our mind we know it's not, there's no substance, it's too fluffy. But what I love about looking at Ash Wednesday with new eyes is that it's a time to release the things that keep us from being who we truly are. So could we release the things that keep our union being what it truly is? And it's always just a decision. So that's just a freebie. I have another freebie for you. And I'm giving this to you because I'm afraid I'll forget, because it's nowhere in my talk. But I get all these downloads. I pray that I will say what I need to say, and God keeps chattering all the way here. I keep getting this stuff. And I remembered that there was a study done in Great Britain of couples that had been together for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and they were still in love with each other. It's not like they actually had to say, yeah, we still like each other, we're still in love. So two criteria, longevity and love. And they were asked a series of questions, lots and lots of questions, to truly get to what kept them so committed to each other through all these years. And one of the things that they noticed with all those couples is that every single one of those couples, those unions, somebody had fallen out of love. It was normal to fall out of love. But the deal was, they fell out of love at different times. So the person that fell out of love was overloved by the other person until they fell back in love. And then that person might fall out of love, but they were overloved by the other person until they fell back in love. It's what we were sharing last week. I can love myself so much that you can love you so much, that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. I'm just dancing to the music. I heard music. It's probably from the heavens. Or T-Mobile. Anyway, so isn't that a wonderful thing? Because let's just be honest, certainly don't raise your hands. Especially if you're with somebody. Mom's the word. Falling out in love is normal. Because love sometimes is equated to its most base sense, which is just a feeling. But love is much more than a feeling. And therefore, we can do things to reinitiate that feeling. So today's talk title is What Would Love Do? But before I talk about what love would do, and I do know what love would do, I want to define love. Love is the experience of unity or oneness with something or someone. So this actually came to me one time when I wanted to know what love was. There's so many songs, I can just hear the lyrics now. Can't you just, what is love? I mean, just too many songs about that stuff. And I was going through a period where I just like, well, what is it? I'm supposed to talk about it. What is it? And so this is how I get my answers when I really need an answer. And I'm just sharing this with you. This is another freebie. I make myself do something I don't want to do, and I tell myself I won't stop doing it until I get the answer. Because we always have the answer, because intelligence is always available. There's no thing that we cannot know. So there's been times I just sat on the bed and in a lotus position said, I won't go until I'm not moving until I know the answer. And then I'll have this craving to wash dishes or do the laundry. Nope, stay in here until I know, and then I'll know. Well, at that particular time, I went for a walk around SPU's track. And I started walking, and I was starting to get tired. And I was wondering what love was, and I was trying to put it together in my head, trying to analyze it. And then pretty soon, I just knew that none of that felt right. And so I said, I'm not stopping walking until I know what love is. And then all of a sudden, I got really tired. Nope, we're walking until I know the answer. And what came from me, and it's just me, it doesn't, although it does fit all sorts of spiritual leaders from millennia and over continents, but it came to me, and so I can talk about it, is what it was, is love is the experience of us being connected, of feeling one. And if you think about it, when you love someone, you care about them. You are one with them. Their life is important. Their well-being is important. It matters. Now, you can have that for a significant other. You can have it for children, your parents, your family, your neighborhood, your community. You can have it for a stranger. In fact, actually, I think it's love that kicks in when somebody rushes in to save someone else that's in trouble. There's no thought process. Well, who are they? I don't know who they are. What do you think their background is? What's their mama do? And how'd they vote? It just, pooh. Studies have been done with soldiers who would rush into fire, into a battle, into bullets flying everywhere to save one of their comrades. And when asked why they did it, it wasn't a thought. They didn't think about it. It was that they just knew that to save them was to save themselves. It's the experience of oneness. That's love. And it doesn't necessarily come all glossy with Hallmark cards and little hearts. And yet it's strong, and it is what keeps us alive. It's the glue that keeps humanity together and inspires us to reach for something greater than ourselves. Teilhard de Chardin said that it was love that was the impulsion for us to evolve and to continue to evolve until finally we could look our God in the face and realize that what we looked at was what we were looking with. And it's just love. Now, the other thing about love is that if it is an aspect of God, and God is present, it's always present. God is always present. Love is always present. So no matter how you feel today, or how you feel yesterday, or how alone you are, God is present, love is present. Now, we may not feel that, but it doesn't change the fact that love is present because you're on this planet, and God exists and love exists. But here's the deal. Love is like air. There's air in here, too. We're in the presence of air, but you don't feel air until it moves. And you don't feel love until it moves. And a lot of people want love to move to them when what they could really do is just start moving the love. And when you move the love, you feel the love, because the truth is love exists. And the bigger truth is we are one and we are connected. And we can feel disconnected, but that's just because we haven't let the love flow. We haven't allowed ourselves, we actually think it has to be a feeling. And it's really nice. It's so biological. It's so good to feel this kind of attraction once in a while. That's how the race didn't die out. But it does not mean that we can always just believe in our attractions. Love is a connection, and the stronger the connection, the stronger we will feel the love, but there is always a connection. The funny thing is that the more that we allow ourselves to do our spiritual practice, the more we wake up and the more we experience a spiritual awakening, the larger our connection will grow, because the more we will know God, and God is love and God is connection. It's just sort of, that's the way it is. How many of you remember Rodney Romney? He was at a few of you. Remember Rodney Romney? He was at the First Baptist Church. And he was strange. At least according to Seattle and Baptists, because he would invite anyone to participate in his congregation, and he was out with it. He wasn't just inviting people in the back door, lay low, it's okay. And he wasn't just inviting in Seattle, it would be a big deal, gays and lesbians. Oh, no. He let women be part of church leadership. So in ministerial school, I got to go interview him, and I was interviewing him like, "What going on? You're really out there. I mean, we're rebels anyway, but you're a Baptist." And what he said is, "I don't know why everyone isn't doing this, because the more I contemplate God, the more the walls that I was told to have fall away." See, the more we contemplate God, the more we love, and the more the illusion of separation dissipates. I said it last week, and I want to say it again because I have to remember this. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference, which is the thought we're not connected, the illusion we're not connected. Love longs to contribute and to give to that which it feels connected to. This explains the difference between love and attachment or lust. And none of those things are bad, but they're not love. See, attachment and lust is based on an empty soul needing to be filled by someone else. I need this from you. I need this from you. I'm not good till I get this from you. And so sometimes we give up who we are to please them so that we can get what we need from them. That's neediness. And then lust. Anyway, we won't go there. That's not the talk. Love, on the other hand, is a full heart needing to overflow, needing to express, needing to just contribute. In The Rose, the song The Rose, there's a line that I think some of you have felt. Love is a hungry, aching need. No. Attachment is a hungry, aching need, not love. Love is already full because love is God, and God's full of itself. Thank you for understanding. Now, the bigger we grow in our connections, the bigger we grow in our heart, and the more love that flows through us into others. And it just becomes natural. I had an aha this morning, and I heard myself saying it. Gary was there. I heard myself saying it, and I thought, wow, this has got to become part of my talk too. Because sometimes I hear voices, and sometimes I just hear myself. Where did that come from? And someone was trying to figure something out that was pretty complicated and involved a lot of people, and trying to figure it out in their head. And they are adept at the science of mind. They've been in the science of mind for a very long time. And they were trying to figure something out. And here's what I want to say about the science of mind. The problem with it is the mind. Because the mind can run rings around us. It can take our own concepts and use them against us. Now, when I say us, I mean that spiritual essence of us that wants to move into the unknown so it can continue to grow. And that's running rings around us is not bad, but it is the ego, and the ego's job is to keep us safe. And safety is what's known. Being unsafe is what's not known. So let's just stay here. Don't move. We're uncomfortable, but we're used to it. After all, like this isn't so bad. So it will do things to keep us where we are so that it can tell us that we're safe. So it will use spiritual principles to say, well, yeah, but you can't pray here. And if you pray that, well, what will it happen? And what about those other people? And how do they participate in it? You know what I'm saying? And what I found myself saying is, we need to stop putting so much attention on the science of mind and start listening to the science of heart. What does the heart want to express? What does the heart need to say? Because the heart is full. Now, it's full. It may be a small heart, but it's full because it is the place where we connect with the divine. What we would find then, if we really listened, is that love is always present and there is always the answer to everything that we need to know when we need to know it. But that was just the prelude to the talk. By the way, if you have questions about any of this, please feel free. We'll have a time for questions in a minute. But here's what I wanted to get to. This was profound. I just discovered recently that St. Augustine said, we sin. I'm going to use the word sin. How many of you are here for one of the first few times? I don't use this word lightly, but just take a deep breath. Sin. There. Phew. Sin is missing the mark. It's making a mistake that makes us feel wounded. Sin is not a blemish on our soul. Sin isn't something we can't overcome. Sin isn't something that will cripple us forever. It's just the sense that somehow we have not lived up to our potential. We sin and we judge ourselves. We're not judged by something out in the sky. And as soon as we stop saying that we've sinned, the effects of that sin go away. So just want to put that out there. Here, at least in our soul, it goes away in our soul. So Augustine said, we sin when we have our loves out of order. We only sin, we make a mistake when our loves are out of order. So I want to share with you a little bit about that. Sure, I will. Here we go. Smallest print in the world. Here we go. So here's more of an explanation. So we all love a lot of things. We love our family, we love our money, we love a little affection, we love status, we love truth, and we all know that some loves are higher than others, meaning of a higher priority to us. We know that our love of family is, we know our love of family is a higher order than our love of money. Right. Some people know that. Here's what the truth is, and I say this in Beyond Limits. You'll always know what you believe by what you do. And you know what you're doing by looking at your calendar and your checkbook. So to say I love something and nothing shows up on your calendar, and nothing is made and nothing is contributed towards it, then at least say what's really important to you. Truth heals. Lies don't. So, we know our love of truth should be higher than our love of money. Yet, if we're lying to get money, we're putting our loves out of order. And so sometimes, just by nature, we get things out of order and then we hurt. Say, for example, if a friend tells you a secret and you blab it at a dinner party, you're putting your love of popularity above your love of friendship. And we know that that's wrong. Our soul knows that's wrong and it hurts. So sit down and ask yourself, what do I love? And am I contributing to it? That makes so much sense. It makes it clear to me why I have sometimes felt bad about myself. It's because I was putting more attention. I was following a lesser love. I think the reason why I could be married for 18 years this time is that I finally got my priorities rearranged, my loves. It's always God, but it used to be God in church. Now it's God, Tim in church. God, Tim in my ministry. If I wouldn't even say this church. This church is just the place I do my ministry, my expression in the world. I love my expression in the world. But it's very difficult for someone to be around someone when they know that you're second. Tim's not second. Well, he's second. Because God comes first, but God is the way that I love Tim, and Tim is the reason I love God. I mean, it's all together. To look at, what I was looking at is why do I not feel good sometimes? What am I not feeling good about? Is I sometimes don't actually put the time and attention into myself. So I have to raise that priority, raise that love, because I would say I love myself. I could say that about myself, but then when I look at my calendar and I look where I'm spending my money, it's not on me. I'm not making sure that I do this for myself. Does that make sense? And then I feel out of order because I want it to be higher, but it's not. And therefore, I miss the mark and I feel less whole. Any questions about any of that? And Liam, who's also in our Inward Journey class, and also house manager. Yes, Liam, the house manager. Yes, we have a question. Come on up. Yes. Oh, and a hand was raised. I just want to say thank you. I love it that people are willing to ask questions because I think I've covered everything, and then somebody asks a question, I go, oh, I didn't cover that. So what did I not cover?
Well, I'm just curious about your take about falling in love. Is that...
what? I'm sorry.
About falling in love.
What did you say before that?
I wanted to know your take on that.
Take on that. Okay, take on falling in love.
I mean, is that love or is that just hormones?
What do you think?
I think it's hormones that get you to feel love and openness. But
I don't know that come on, how many of you have looked across the room and went, ah-cha-cha? I don't feel one with that person. I just feel drawn to that person, but there hasn't been a chance for a connection to be made. See, that's why I think God gave us hormones, so that we could finally make a connection. Otherwise, what would you be drawn to? So we have hormones. And then you meet them. They might open their mouth and you go, ah! Very sweetly, I'm sure. It's that time.
So I guess, like, say you're going out with somebody and your hearts are opening to each other, and that person turns around and says, oh, I'm not falling in love with you. What's that about?
They're just not into you. No. It could be that there was an attraction, and then it's just not mutually happening. Connection. I have done this. Who hasn't just met somebody and thought, this is it, right? Well, there's always a connection. But you don't know how deep the connection is until you spend time together. Here's the deal. This was also a download right outside my elevators. Because I was wondering about love again. I asked God a lot about love because Ernest Holmes said nothing about love. I had love issues and Ernest was nil on it. Wah! The only thing I could find is, if you want a friend, be a friend. Fine. Right. So if you want a lover, be a lover? I mean, what? So I was asking God a lot. Like, okay, so this is it. God said you can love anyone. And I paraded a bunch of faces in front of me just to test the theory. Because at that point, I was also infused with love, and I was testing it against people. And I went, yeah, that's true. I could love anyone. I could love anyone. So if I could love anyone, then the next person out of the elevator, they might be married. I mean, I was actually testing, how's this work? And then the word said, but you have to find someone you want to play with the rest of your life. So them not falling in love with you might be saying something like, I was attracted to you, but I can't see myself playing with you for the rest of my life, which is not a bad thing. It means someone else is coming along that you will develop with. I'm shocked that, yes, I was attracted to Tim, and then the more we were together, it's like, wow, there's a lot alike, and we're a lot different, but that would just actually enhance our journey together. My prayer was, I want someone that I can be with in a satisfying, full heart, and fulfilling, full heart, and supportive relationship for the rest of my life. And who knew that we didn't even talk about it, and I married a farm boy. He even called himself a farm boy. I moved to the ranchette. He has tractors. He's happy. We didn't plan that 8 years before we got this, but the universe knew and knew how it would fall together. So it could be that if it was you or the other person, it's that your soul knows that in the path that you're choosing to go, it won't work for the two of you. In the path that you're going, because the head is trying to figure stuff out and the heart knows the connection. And there's nothing wrong with that person. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you may not support each other for the rest of your lives. And that's what I wanted, something that would be for the rest of my life. And every time it unfolds, and I go, wow, I married a Portuguese man and I love Portugal. I mean, the way it unfolds is amazing. You can't figure that stuff out. And so you go, wow, I'm so grateful you're not falling in love with me. Yay! God bless you. God bless you. Next. And then you say something like, I've been saved. Because if you had to make it work, you'll always have to make it work. How many of you have met someone you had to make it work? May you be saved, brothers and sisters. May you be saved. Now, it doesn't mean that it's all easy, that we don't need to talk and compromise and reevaluate. But there's never a question that I'm not supported. That's love coming to me. And it's never a question that I'm not satisfied and fulfilled. That's love going out of me. So that there's always this circulation, and we can feel love because there's movement. I'm not waiting, and he's not waiting. Thank you. How many of you just thought that was the best question ever? Best question ever. Thank you for being so brave. Take a deep breath. So, I have a question for you. How many of you feel a connection, a love for this center? Thank you. Then what I want to do is to enroll you, to entice you, to persuade you, to influence you, to court you. Oh, snap, snap. Court you into being more connected to this center through your giving of time. We are as strong and vital and contagious with spirit as we have people participating in the life of CSL. And so all of you got a card when you came in, a card that looks like this. And we intentionally made it as easy as possible. If you know your name, you can fill out this part. If you know your email address, you can fill out that part. And if you have a phone number, you can fill out that part. Easy. And then, if you know some way that you would like to become involved, you can do something. If you like bossing people around, including me, house manager might be your place. If you like to greet people, or if you're incredibly shy, because if I'm shy, I know you don't know that, but that's because I'm up here and you're out there. Get close to me and I go, I'm just shy. I'm an introvert. But I would choose to be an usher or a greeter because it would put me in a place where I had to reach out and I would grow from it. Or if you were a concierge, we want to create a concierge table. Those are the know-it-alls. How many of you love to be a know-it-all? Oh, that would be my place too. Oh, let me tell you. Youth and family ministries, facility support, any of these, if you think you know where you would like to play, that would be wonderful. Then check this. And if you don't know, say, don't know. I just don't know. Call me and let's talk. And Reverend Harold or Lori Hawkins or someone like that or myself will call you and find a place for you to play. Because we don't want this to be about work. We want this to be about play. We want this to be about family. We want this to be about engagement. We want this to be about a team. One of the things that I love about sacred travel, and I think the reason I do it over and over again, is because after a week or 2 weeks, in fact, actually maybe 4 days at Rainbow Lodge or a week someplace or 2 weeks on a bigger trip, by the time we get together and then we finally break up, it's like I miss them like my family. It's like, oh, when people started going home from Egypt and I stayed an extra day, it's like, oh. And I love that feeling. I love that feeling of connection. Well, you could have that feeling of connection by being on a sacred service team. And it feels good. So I want to do something, but first, before I do that, I want to invite some people up here in front. I'm going to invite Susan Lindy. She's on a lot of teams. She's on our Associate Minister Search team, among other things. I'm going to invite, let's see, who can I, Liam and the Rebellos. I'd love to have you come up. And Laura, you're on service today as a practitioner. Come on up. Move over and just get some places over here. Emma Marino, come up. Emma. Emma's not only on the Board of Trustees, but I need to share something really exciting. Emma, get your book. Emma has translated 40 Days to Prosperity by Kathianne Lewis into Spanish, because we are going back to Mexico at a Spanish-speaking conference, and we're taking Emma to the Spanish-speaking world. Woo! And I want to invite Gary Schultz, who volunteers to lead our wonderful meditations every morning. So they're standing up here as, oh, we need some more people on this side. Oh, my goodness, come on. I'm going to do Rob. Rob, come on up. I'm going to put Rob over here because I think that Harold is generous, and then Rob, like, woo, blows that family up, and he has volunteered in his services and his time in so many ways. They're home, they have small groups, it's just wonderful. So thank you very much, Rob. So these people are here to love on you and to love you and know that we are connected to you, and we're asking, would you be connected back? So in a way, this is like swipe left or swipe right. Some of you know what I'm doing. I've never done it, but I've heard. I'd like you to if you feel called to be a part of this community in a bigger way, whether you're volunteering now or you're not, or you'd like to do it in a new way, I'm inviting you to actually take a stand and bring your card up. How many people would like to say, you know what, this is my place, and I am taking a step towards greater connection? And you may sing.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world.
So we take this moment to just know that for every person who came forward, and for every person who sits, and for every person who's already in service, and for every person who would never do that, all are blessed. For there is no place outside the heart of God. There is no place outside the love of God. There's no place where blessing is not, for there's no place where God is not. And so I just give thanks for us listening to our heart and allowing our heart to speak what is ours, what is not ours. And always the heart is a blessing and is blessed. Always there can be a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, and always there can be a sense of being supported, because it's all the movement of God in our life. Love is the movement of God in our life. And I give thanks that for each person here, when we choose to know more love, we choose to give again. When we choose to know more connection, we choose to show up again. When we choose to be wrapped in love, we allow that love to flow from us and wrap the people around us in that essence, through our giving, through our commitment, through our language, through our speaking, through our gifts of time and connection and attention and response. All is good, because all really is God. And I give thanks, and so it is.